This is the How Design Live podcast, hosted by programming partner Ilise Benun, national speaker, author of 7 business books for creative professionals, and founder of marketing-mentor.com. Listen to her lively conversations with past and future How Design Live speakers about the business of creativity and creativity in business. Here's Ilise Benun.
Today, I'm interviewing one of my favorite people who also happens to be one of the highest rated How Design Live speakers from last year and the year before. Terri Trespicio is a firecracker, and she'll be back at the big event in Chicago this year doing lots of different things, including 2 sessions, which we will get a sneak peek at on today's How Design Live podcast. One is on how to give the media what it wants, which she'll be presenting at the Get Better Clients Bootcamp, which is my half-day intensive on May 2nd, and another on how to replenish your creativity well. So listen and learn. Hello, Terri. Welcome back to the podcast.
Thank you.
So introduce yourself to those who don't know who you are.
How can that be? Just kidding. My name is Terri Trespicio, and I am a brand strategist, which says everything and nothing. I know. Basically, I help people figure out what their thing is, no matter what they're trying to do with their brand or business. How do you get what you're trying to say to your customer, your clients, your fan base, and how do you communicate it with precision across all platforms? That's basically what I do. And I'm a very happy contributor to the How Live event. Love coming and being there every year. I've been really honored to be there.
Yeah, and this will be the 3rd year that you're coming back, and you're doing a couple different things. So I wanted to talk a little bit about the things you're doing there to give people a little heads up, a little taste of it.
Sure.
So the first thing I want to talk about is your role in the Get Better Clients Bootcamp, which for those of you who don't know is basically a half-day intensive where 7 speakers will answer the question, how do you get better clients, with a different, very simple and practical strategy. And yours, what is yours, Terri? Tell us what yours is.
Well, mine is to help people get better clients by getting the attention that they want. Does that sound right? I think that's right.
Yes. You were talking specifically about media attention. Well,
about media. How do you get attention? How do you put your foot in that river of attention? It's always moving. The media. And by media, we mean almost everything besides smoke signals, right? Anytime you have your name mentioned or you get written up or you write something and contribute somewhere or you're featured on an interview, on a podcast or a TV show, how can people who own their own businesses and run their own things, how can they get a little bit of that attention? A lot of people want it and they just don't know the first thing about doing it.
And how do you know?
I know because I built my own brand, or started to, inside of a company when I was full-time at Martha Stewart. I realized that I had something special. I had a special opportunity there because I was a magazine editor there for many years. But I bore easy, so I was always looking for other stuff to kick up and do. And I saw there was a big opportunity inside the Martha company. I was in a magazine inside that brand, right? And they had a radio station at Sirius XM. They had their own channel, and they had clients coming in to the headquarters who they wanted to give them something to listen to. So I got to do a radio show. I raised my hand, said, sure, I'll present on health and wellness because I was a health and wellness editor. And I found opportunities inside a brand called Martha Stewart to do cool other stuff. But then when I left there, I said, well, now I learned how to do this a little bit. Now I've got to do this on my own. So I know from being an editor, I know who would get my attention when I was looking to feature experts or feature people's stories or interview them. I know what I was looking for, but I also was on the other side of it and pitched people and was on TV shows, on the whole morning lineup of talk shows, and did Dr. Oz more times than I can count. So I've been on that side. I know what they're looking for. So I've got this really unique view of both sides of media. And so I started basically coaching people how to do this. And then last year launched a program with my good friend and business partner, Paula Rizzo. And we started a business called Lights Camera Expert, where we teach people how to do this. And so our half-day session for this boot camp is going to give a little taste of that. What does it take to get some media attention and raise your profile as an expert or business owner.
And I think one of the pieces of information, one of the secrets, if you will, about this whole media thing is that the media needs content. It's a hungry beast, right? And I think when people approach it from the, why would they want me, or I'm really not all that special perspective, what they're not understanding is how hungry the media is for content.
The media is incredibly hungry for content. Think about it. It's 24/7. It's like a tap that's always on. I don't know where you think they're getting their ideas. They're getting them from watching other people, from reading other things. Like media begets media. And so if you can figure out how to make what you're talking about relevant to their viewers and their readers, which might be different from what you sell on your own. I mean, your business is your business. But what the media wants, there's a formula for that. We know what they want. Topics change from day to day, but they are absolutely hungry for ideas and experts. And if you can pitch it to them, you can get a piece of that.
And are we talking about getting on TV, or what other media opportunities are there out there? It seems to me like it's a huge ocean of possibilities, and most people just focus on TV and say, oh, no, not TV for me.
Yeah. Oh, right. It's either way. It's, I want to be on regular mainstream TV. We get that a lot, especially people who seek us out. But then there's a lot of people who say, well, I don't think I need the media because I don't think I could get on the Today Show. I go, yeah, you're right. Very few people get on the Today Show. By the way, the Today Show is always looking for ideas too. But I hate when we hang all of media onto that one show or that one entity, this big flagship show, which, by the way, like, it's not even the thing that gets the most views at all, but we associate traditional media with the only real media. And it's just not true. Take a look at your iTunes. Do you know how many podcasts are out there? People who are, at least one of the groups I met was a group of artists who do a podcast, a really popular, it's called the, of course I'm going to think of it on the spot. The graphic design podcast show. That's all they talk about is the life of design and designers in business. And guess what? If you're in that business and you have some thoughts about it, you think they wouldn't be interested in hearing what you have to say? So this is the era of very specialized, it's called the Deeply Graphic Podcast. That's it. Props to those guys. But seriously, there are so many that are looking for specific skill sets and backgrounds. So you don't have to think your Today Show worthy or feeling like, oh, I have to pitch that would score there to score anywhere. There are podcasts, a lot of this one. There are YouTube shows. There are Facebook Live shows. And people who are booking traditional media are consuming these other forms of media. So it's not nothing to be participating in all these different forms. By the way, you can also create your own media and your own buzz. Everyone's their own publisher now, at least. So it's kind of like you can start doing and sharing what you most want to share with the world, and you never know who will see it.
So we're going to switch over to the other topic that you're speaking on, because if people want to hear more about exactly how to pursue this media thing, they can come to the Get Better Clients Bootcamp. But you are also presenting at How. And your topic is called Out of Juice, How to Replenish Your Creativity Well. And that's going to be on Wednesday, May 3rd. So what's that all about?
I am so excited to present on this topic because there isn't a person on the planet who doesn't feel out of juice at one point or another. It's not just an artist's problem. It's an everyone problem. When we hear that the numbers of people who are disengaged from the workplace are just climbing. And of course, I'm going to do some digging around and get the most current statistics I can find. But basically, it doesn't look good. People are disengaged from work. They don't know why they're there or why it matters. It can be very hard to stay very focused there. And even if, you have like what's considered a cool job, like you're a graphic designer at a cool like magazine, or you work on this online destination site, work is work. And the thing is, it doesn't matter how cool your job is. We burn out. And if we don't take measures to actually replenish that well, we are going to quite literally dry up and feel frustrated. I mean, at least, one of the biggest influences on me is Seth Godin. I mean, I've had the opportunity to meet him and just been like bathing in the vats of content that he creates. Talk about, you're a content machine, Elise, and so is Seth Godin. For God's sakes, he produces a lot of stuff. And the thing that he's always saying and this is why I think it really applies to this crowd, is that the problem is we don't see ourselves as artists enough. Now, the people who attend How Live, probably a lot of them do see themselves as artists, or, there's a lot of people who see themselves as designers, but they think of themselves as just like a workaday designer, and they lose touch with their artist self. And this is really for anyone in any job. The creative muscle is not something that only a few people have or should use. And when you think about how disengaged people get and feel, a lot of it is, well, look at what we do, what we want or expect our work to do for us. We feel that we need to have the cool job and the cool title and the cool projects. And when the work fails to deliver, we think, oh no, I'm not going to be engaged in this. It's hard for me to engage in something that's not exciting. Well, guess what? A lot of work doesn't have to be exciting to pay the rent, and it doesn't always have to be exciting. But when you run out of juice, you do not derive any sense of fulfillment or reward from your work. And we can't just blame the work. We have to take responsibility for the degree to which we can get engaged. And so this workshop, I've been reading a lot by people who I just love, not only Seth, but also Austin Kleon, who wrote Steal Like an Artist, and of course, Stephen Pressfield. What was the other one that I read? Oh, Essentialism, which is great. There's so many books that I'm kind of diving around and swimming around in to get ideas from them about how do we come to our own work and our boss's work, feeling replenished and renewed.
And I think another piece of it from the people that I've spoken to at How, the attendees, is that even if we're not completely burnt out, to be able to create on demand is a skill and a talent in and of itself, don't you think?
Oh, it is. And I want to lean towards skill because it's something you learn. You could have someone who's an incredibly talented painter and they don't paint all the time and they create one painting every 2 years. They might not be the most productive. And as long as they're getting their needs met, they can take as long as they want to paint. But if you're paid to create something on demand, you've got to train for it. I mean, think about it. When there are occupational hazards for physical labor, for hard physical labor, if you're going to be doing a lot of lifting, a lot of pulling, you better, you'll wreck your body if you don't do things that really keep your body in good form and balance so you can do the work that is demanded of you without hurting yourself. Our work, for most of us, is not as physical as it is emotional labor. And that has its own cost. And burnout is one of them. Feeling like, oh my God, that fear of what if I've just created my last thing and I can't create another one. We look at our art and our skill as a shrinking resource, as diminishing returns. Like, oh no, this is it. I can't do it anymore. We have to balance and flex that muscle. And I believe there's ways to do it. I'm doing it myself. I'm finding ways that work, and I'll certainly share some of theirs. But getting people to realize that you don't just wait for art and inspiration to come out of nowhere. Like Austin Kleon says, nothing comes from nowhere. And yes, you do need to deliver as a creative regularly. It doesn't mean every single thing has to be a work of art or masterpiece, but you need to, a lot of that is our personal involvement too. Thinking, oh, this reflects me, and what does it mean if it's not something wonderful? And the more we can detach from some of the outcomes of our work and make sure that we make a practice of being disciplined about creating it, the better off we are.
Excellent. All right. So, Terri, tell the listeners where they can find more of you and more about you.
Well, you can go to my site at territrespicio.com. That's where all my stuff lives. But also, if you're interested, if you're like, I want to learn more about media and about what that's all about, I'm not sure, but I'd like to tiptoe in, you can go to lightscameraexpert.co, and that's another place for you to hear about it. But those are my two places, and I hope that, and at Terri T on Twitter.
Excellent. All right. Thank you, Terri, and we will see you in Chicago in May. If she doesn't make you want to come to How Design Live, I don't know what will. You really can't afford to miss this. So I hope to see you there. That's May 2nd through 6th, 2017. As Debbie Millman said, it will be epic. You can also find more of my podcasts at marketingmentorpodcast.com and howdesign.com. So thanks for listening, and I'll be back again soon with more conversations about the business of creativity and creativity in business.
You've been listening to the How Design Live podcast with Ilise Benun, the programming partner for How Design Live. You can subscribe to this podcast in the iTunes Store or on SoundCloud. We hope you found it both inspiring and practical, like everything How Live. And we hope to see you at the next How Design Live, May 2nd through 6th, 2017 in Chicago. Get all the details at www.howdesignlive.com.